What's going on, guys? In today's video I'm discussing what exactly I'm doing with my Workhorse stock since it took that massive dive this past week after the United States Postal Service announcement. And then I'm going to go through a couple options you may have or you may not be aware of if you're still one of those people that currently own Workhorse stock and wasn't able to sell off before the big drop. And of course, you're probably like me and you're highly disappointed that Workhorse didn't even get a small piece of that lucrative $8 billion contract. I really thought Workhorse had a decent chance to win at least a small portion of this contract. You know, we've done a lot of videos about them leading up to this. We all knew that this was going to be a very hard uphill battle for them to get the whole contract, just because of how long they've been established as a company, and ultimately it come down to the capacity of the production levels that they could produce. We all knew that it was going to be very hard for them to really match the amount of vehicles that the United States Postal Service contract wanted based off this contract, and they was going to have to partner with either Lordstown Motor Group, other companies to meet those goals. So back when this all started, I'd put several $1,000s into Workhorse, and really if you're one of those people like me, you've seen it rise and fall based off snooze, delay of the contract. So ultimately, as time went on, I was able to sell off a majority of my shares and really kind of break even, if you will, on that cost. And I put that money into more of a stable companies that I felt like had a better future. Overall, I'm sitting on 200 shares of Workhorse. That, as of the time of this video, I'm experiencing a 36% loss, or roughly a $1,800 loss in total. Now, while some people may say, sell what you have, take your loss and move on, me personally, I'm not too quick to do that just yet, and here's why. One of the reasons is, in the most recent news really talking about Workhorse, is Kathy Wood's investment group ARC bought a noticeable amount of shares after the drop in price and all this happened. She purchased around 660,000 shares of Workhorse. Now, of course, she could just be playing the short-term play game and be able to capitalize on if it goes up near 10-20% based off certain news. That could be it. But the reality is, for me at least, it does look good when major hedge funds or major funds are buying more shares after it was announced that they did not get this contract. Then, to add to this, a House Democrat this past Thursday vowed to reject the deal with Oshkosh, which currently only requires 10% of the vehicles to be all electric, which is not what some lawmakers want, including President Biden himself. A couple weeks ago, President Biden stated he wanted all federal vehicles to become electric by 2035. So don't read too much into this. I'm not saying this decision will be reversed by any means. All I'm saying is, as there's more talk about this, about these lawmakers agreeing with President Biden and wanting an all-electric vehicle federal fleet, it bodes well for Workhorse. Again, they was one of the few companies that have an all-electric van or delivery truck. So it at least puts them in a position to, down the road, potentially be in the talks or in the running for other major federal contracts. And then the next reason, if you're still stuck owning a Workhorse, is you have the option play if that's something you've ever dabbled in. Workhorse right now still has a high trading volume, and of course is still a volatile stock, which as of now is providing some good premiums on sell calls. For example, this sell call expiring on March 19th has a range of anywhere from $150 to $250 in premiums attached to it, really depending on where you want that strike price to be. Now, if you've never traded options and you're really unsure of how to get started, my buddy Adam did an amazing job doing a quick, simple video on the sell calls and sell puts. Feel free to check out the video in the link above. So let's focus real quick and take away all the hype and all the talk about this contract. Workhorse, for the size of the company, has been able to really secure some pretty decent orders and contracts in 2020 and 2021 already. Back in January, Pride Group Enterprises had placed an order for up to 6,000 of the C-Series all-electric van, with around 1,800 vehicles in 2021 alone per the contract. You know, there isn't much hype and glamour and talk about these contracts, but at the end of the day, contracts like Pride Group and these other smaller companies do the same thing at the end of the day, and that's bringing much needed revenue. So while yes, not getting this contract was a huge hit for the company, it may just be a blessing in disguise for us as investors and also for the company. Since they are a smaller size company, this may allow them to regroup, refocus on what's important to them. And for me, for a smaller company, is to really focus on quality and not as much as quantity. We all knew that if they got this contract, it was going to be a big challenge for them to really meet the production goals and the capacity that the Postal Service wanted as far as the amount of vehicles produced each year. We all know that e-commerce is growing rapidly. It seems like every month stocks are taking off. These companies are growing. Amazon warehouses are being built almost every major city. So the demand and the growth for companies that provide a all electric or energy efficient vehicle is going to continue to grow each and every year for at least the next 10 to 20 years. Major companies like UPS, FedEx, DHL, and Amazon, etc., are all experimenting with different companies and different vehicles. So overall, the market is still wide open for someone to score a huge contract. So while yes, this doesn't directly affect Workhorse specifically, the overall demand and growth for these companies to need energy efficient vehicles or all electric vehicles with the climate change and the current agenda pushed out from the White House, it only puts Workhorse to be in a great position to kind of capitalize on the demand for these vehicles. So for me guys, it all comes down to one date here shortly, and that is March 1st, when they're going to announce their next earnings report and kind of see how much they've improved from last quarter to this quarter. And in that report, I'm kind of looking at their overall financials, if they've received any more orders, the orders that they did have, like from Pride Group, how much production have they accomplished and fulfilled with that order, overall revenue, income, debt ratio, all that stuff to really kind of make a calculated decision. This is going to give us some much needed insight on really if we're going to stick with this stock for the long term and think that it has a chance to rebound over the next couple of years, or if it's one of those things where we need to look in the short term and kind of sell off because it don't have any future, it don't have any rapid growth on the horizon for the company. So let me know in the comment section what your play with Workhorse is. Are you staying for the long term and kind of see how everything plays out like me? Or is it one of those things where if it gets another 10 to 20% bump, you're counting your losses, you're moving on to another company? I would love to hear kind of what your thought process is on those, or if there's some other information out there that I haven't talked about already that may help investors that currently own Workhorse kind of pick a direction on which way they want to go. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching the video. I hope your Workhorse stock turns green very soon. Hope you stay safe, and we'll see you on the next video.